Hey, and welcome to 20 Minutes Self Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. This podcast is all about focused, effective self development, specifically for healing practitioners, space holders, and intuitives who want to do the work behind the work. In each episode, I'll introduce you to a key concept, reflection, or tool that's designed to strengthen your inner capacity and support the integrity of your practice. In just 20 minutes, we'll go beyond surface level growth and into the real work that makes you a stronger, steadier, and more embodied practitioner. Let's get into today's episode. So this week we're going to be chatting about cycles that we go through as medicine people, particularly those of us who are in active service. So perhaps we've got a business and we're a professional practitioner. Or we simply just offer our gifts as a form of service. And whether you're holding space as a practitioner or you're regularly offering your gifts to others, we're going to talk about fatigue, burnout, and the guilt that often comes when we need to rest. Because let's be honest, it's not just about being tired. And if you know, it's so much more than just being tired. It's this bizarre belief that we shouldn't be tired, that we shouldn't be burnt out, that we've always got to be, there and ready and on call. Probably one of the most common struggles I hear from practitioners and those in active service is, I feel exhausted, but I feel guilty if I step back. I've heard those words come out of my mouth multiple times over the years. I've heard those words come out of my own mouth. So it's common for me, it's common for other practitioners and those that are in service. The thing of, I feel absolutely exhausted, but I feel like I can't step back. I can't take a break. And, you may feel like you always need to be available for your clients, or, if you're a teacher, for your students, or for your community, or for your family. You may hear this inner voice that says, if I was called to this work, I wouldn't feel this drained. I've said that to myself. Yes, I've said those words to myself before. Or perhaps you push through the exhaustion, believing that taking rest means that you're lazy or undisciplined, or you don't take your path as seriously as you should be. While this is work, and it does take a lot out of us, and it is incredibly demanding of us. Rest is part of the process. Rest is normal. Let's normalize rest. Please, let's normalize rest. I've been working on normalizing rest for myself, and I tell you what, it makes a huge difference in how much more I can actually get done. This cycle of being exhausted or highly fatigued, feeling really guilty, pushing harder, pushing yourself deeper into burnout. It's common. Like we do this, and if we're going to be guilty of anything, it's this. If you want to feel guilty about something, feel guilty about that cycle. And it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve your gifts, and it doesn't support the people that it doesn't serve the people that you're supporting either. Rest is not a weakness. I'm going to say it again. Rest is not a weakness. Resting and needing to rest does not make you weak. It doesn't make you a crappy practitioner. It doesn't make you a bad medicine person. It doesn't make you inefficient. It makes you human. Okay. We have phenomenal gifts, and some of us can do some mind-blowing, beautiful things, but we still function within human bodies that need human rest. Okay. So rest is not a weakness. Rest is part of the rhythms and fluctuations that come with being a medicine person. In yogic philosophy, balance is a really great way to find balance is through cultivating Sthira and Sukha, which is stability and ease. And we can't cultivate stability and ease if we're not allowing ourselves rest. Okay, like there's going to be no stability, there's going to be no ease. It's just going to be like, oh my god, I'm dragging my feet through my day. So look to cultivate a sense of stability and ease within your life, because fatigue often means we've tipping ourselves way off from being stable and at ease. And when we push ourselves like past burnout, there is no stability and ease. So bringing yourself back, doing restorative work that's going to re-establish that space of stability and ease, because stability and ease is ideally where we should be working from, because that means that we're coming into sessions, we are well regulated, we are well rested, we can connect to source and guides and ancestors a whole lot better. We can, if we're doing predictive work or we're seeing timelines or anything like that, we can do that stuff far better if we are in the space of stability and ease. So cultivate some practices that are going to help you establish stability and ease. And one of those practices should be practicing rest. Yes, make rest part of your practice. We're going to go through natural cycles. We can bring it right down to some simple terms. Your circadian rhythm, that has ebbs and flows to it. Our circadian rhythms are different. They're unique to who you are. So stability and ease, when you're in that space of stability and ease and you're practicing Sthira and Sukha, things like your circadian rhythm are going to be correct. They're going to be in alignment. They're going to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. You will rest when you need to rest. You will sleep when you need to sleep. You'll be awake when you need to be awake. And instead of crashing and burning out, we're allowing ourselves to flow with the natural ebbs and flows of life. If we want to come in from a bit of a mindfulness perspective, and this is really helpful in cultivating stability and ease in our lives, is to be non-judgmental. So when you are tired or you're feeling a bit exhausted, don't be like, oh my god, I'm tired again, I'm so weak, and oh, I need to do better, and no, maybe I need to change this, or maybe I need to change that. No, stabilize yourself, ground yourself, and find that space of ease, and do so by not being judgmental on yourself. Like, there's no need to be judgy. don't judge yourself, all right? There's no need for it, because all you're going to be doing is adding to the story of guilt and failure and shame, and we don't need to be fueling those things. Those things don't help us, okay? And when we align ourselves with more being in a space of stability and ease, rest stops being a guilty secret, and it becomes a natural part of being a sustainable healer, being a sustainable medicine person. So how the heck do we cultivate stability and ease? How do we cultivate Sthira and Sukha for ourselves? Well, there's a couple of ways we can go about this, and it's really about finding practices that work for you, practices that are going to help you be grounded and stable and solid within yourself, because when you're grounded, stable, and solid within yourself, stability and ease are naturally there. Sthira and Sukha very much work hand in hand with one another, and when we teach yogic philosophy, invariably we start with Sthira and Sukha. If you go into a proper yoga class, someone who teaches actual yoga, not just fitness stretching class, they will work from the ground up. They will work from your foundation up. They will ensure that if you're in a standing pose, that your feet are stable and solid on the ground. Because when you're stable and solid in a yoga pose, you're going to be at ease in the pose. Doesn't mean the pose is going to be comfortable, so don't mistake comfort for ease. Comfort and ease are two different things. But there is going to be a sense of, this pose is not very comfortable, but I can actually maintain this pose with a sense of ease. So You can practice simple yoga poses. Mountain pose Tadasana is probably one of the quickest, simplest ways to cultivate some stability and ease for yourself, or to test what stability and ease feels like for you in your body. It's a simple standing pose. There's not a hell of a lot of thinking that you need to do. And it's all about finding that space of being stable, solid, and grounded. And again, when you're stable, solid, and grounded, you're naturally going to cultivate a sense of ease for yourself. So simple yoga poses, absolutely simple ways to cultivate stability and ease. Healthy coping skills, breath work, using breath to, if you're feeling a little bit dysregulated or you're feeling unstable, you're not feeling very grounded, use your breath. A couple of nice deep breaths in, sighing out on the exhales. Those are things that are going to help you feel stable, grounded, solid, and at ease. Go walk outside. we teach these things to other people. A lot of us, we teach our clients, how to do grounding techniques. We do meditations. These are the practices that we teach to others. Use your practices. Go spend 5 minutes just walking on the grass. Hug a tree. People always look at me like I'm a little bit nuts when I suggest that, but I suggest it quite often actually as a grounding technique, is go hug a tree. Because nature is very grounding. It is very stabilizing. And when we are exhausted, what a way to recharge yourself. Then you're spending some time out in nature, getting some vitamin D, letting the sun touch your skin and be on your face. These are things that are good for us. So there's multiple different practices that we can do to help us cultivate a sense of stability and ease. And this is, when we're operating from that space of stability and ease, it's far easier and quicker to recognize when we are hitting points of exhaustion and we are hitting points of burnout. We can catch these things way before we get to the point of being exhausted or burnt out, because we're so within our center and so grounded within ourselves that we can actually feel the minute things of like, oh, something feels a little bit off today. My energy feels a little bit lower than it should be today. Have I been doing too much? Have I seen too many clients? When last did I ground myself? When last did I cultivate a practice for myself? So look for practices that are going to give you that stability and ease. And practice rest. Like if you're going to practice any of the practices that I'm sharing with you today, practice rest. Practice resting, okay? Like it's okay. It's okay to rest. It's taken me many years and a lot of like really convincing myself that it's okay to rest. I would like hit the afternoons, I would just be so exhausted. I'm like, oh, I need to just go lie down and take a nap. And I would do it. I'd go and lie down, put my head on the pillow and throw the blanket over me. And then the brain would be like, what are you doing? We've got so much to do. There's so much on your plate. Like, why are you resting? Why are you being lazy? Like, what is, you're not going to get anything done. You're wasting time. And I had to reprogram my mind and that mindset around rest to say, rest is safe. Rest is good. Rest is okay. Rest is going to help me do more in the long run. If I keep going the way that I'm going, I'm not going to get as much done as I need to. But if I rest for half an hour, I'll get way more done than I would if I didn't take that rest for half an hour. So there is a bit of, reprogramming those mindsets, dealing with that guilt of, like, oh God, I need to rest because I'm exhausted. And you're like, I feel so bad about it. It's reestablishing different ways of thinking about rest. When we think about rest, and if you're thinking about, taking a nap, do you feel guilty about it? And if so, why? Where does that come from? And then reprogramming your brain to say, rest is good, rest is safe, rest is stable, rest is ease. I will be far more productive if I just take a 30-minute nap, and then carry on with my day instead of trying to push past. So give yourself those practices. Give yourself permission to rest without feeling that sense of guilt. lie there for half an hour feeling guilty because you may as well just get up and carry on working at that stage, because you're not resting, you're just lying there feeling guilty, which is not helping your nervous system, it's not helping your body, it's not helping you come back into alignment, and it's definitely not helping you get the rest and restoration that you're going to be needing. So work to cultivate that sense of sthira and sukha for yourself, and work to reset those mindsets and those thought processes that say, oh, rest makes me lazy, I must feel guilty if I do that, I must just push through, I've always got to be on call, I must always be doing, because you will land yourself in an early grave if you carry on like that. Like, you will give yourself a heart attack. Like, stop. And give yourself affirmations if you need to. Rest is part of my rhythm, rest keeps me in service, rest is healthy, rest is good. And it's sometimes it takes time to make that adjustment. It took me many years to really get my brain to stop doing the guilt tripping when I would need to, take a couple of days off, or, go and lie down for half an hour, or take a nap or whatever. I would feel so guilty, and it took so long to deprogram that. So have patience with yourself, give yourself the grace and the time to work through and build new mindsets for yourself. It's not about making huge strides overnight and fixing things overnight. It's about small, conscious, simple acts of just simply honoring where you are. Where are you right now? So when cultivating sthira and sukha, like, check in with yourself regularly. Check in with yourself a couple of times a day if you need to, not just once a week. Check in with yourself a few times a day. Check in with yourself when you wake up in the morning. Did I get enough sleep last night? Do I feel rested? Am I dehydrated? Do I need this? What's happening in my body? What do I need today? And honor those things. Honor the things that you need. If you need to go back to sleep and sleep for another 10 more minutes, then go to sleep and sleep for another 10 more minutes. Allow yourself the permission. Like, no one's going to come down from the big blue beyond and shout at you and be like, you are a lazy piece of nonsense and what are you doing with your life? Like, no one's coming to reprimand you. Okay, no one's going to stand over your bed and be like, why are you resting? Why are you being lazy? The only one who's going to be reprimanding you is you. The only one who's going to be making you feel bad about this is you. So give yourself the permission to do these things. Cultivate that sense of sthira and sukha. Cultivate that stability and ease for yourself. And recognize when you do need to go and lie down for half an hour, or take a weekend off, or hell, take a month off if you need to. Do the things for yourself that you need to do, because you will be far more sustainable in your work. You will have more capacity for your work. You'll have a lot more love for your work. If you're getting up every day exhausted and you're like, oh my God, I have to go and see clients today, and oh my God, I have to do my work today, you will hate your life. You will hate your life, you will hate your work, you will hate your gifts, you will hate your clients. And as medicine people, we don't want that. It's a terrible place to work from. You're here to, as a work or service, and you're like, oh my God, I hate all of this. And I know, because I've been there. I've been at those points of burnout. I retired from reading tarot after 20 odd years because I was so burnt out and exhausted with it. Because I never gave myself the permission to stop and rest. I went through stages where, I was just on call, and I would go and, the metaphysical shop that I worked out of, I was like, oh, I have to be in the shop every day, in case someone wants a reading from me. Like, what nonsense is that? You dictate the terms and conditions of your life. Keep that in mind, especially with this type of work you do. Know that for the good portion of the world around you, they won't understand what it's like to be you, to experience the things that you do, and to have the gifts that you do, and the toll that the stuff takes on you, the work that you do, like, it takes its toll. You're not supposed to be on call 24/7. You're not a doctor in the emergency room, okay? Like, The world's not going to come to a crashing halt because you're taking 2 weeks off. Okay. So cultivate practices that are going to bring that sense of stability and ease. Lean into the teachings of Sthira and Sukha, and rest without the guilt. Shift the mindsets that are bringing up those feelings of guilt and you're lazy and you're this and you're that. Like, shift those mindsets. Do that work for yourself, because your work deserves your best presence, okay? It deserves the best of you. And presence comes from being resourced, not from being depleted. You can't pour from an empty cup. We've all heard the saying. We've probably all said that saying. We probably all lecture our clients on, oh, you can't pour from an empty cup. And then stop pouring from an empty cup, okay? Because fatigue is not proof that you're failing at your calling. It's a sign that you need to return to rhythm. It's a sign that you need rest, okay? It's not that you're weak or inefficient. You are still functioning in a human body. As much as your gifts are incredible and amazing, you're still human, okay? So this week, when you do notice that exhaustion creeping in, go take a nap, take some time off, rest, give yourself permission to rest without the guilt. Because remember that sustainability in this work isn't about how much you can give in one burst, okay? It's not about how much you can give today or how much you can give this week, but about how well you can stay with the path for the long term. Okay, you're in this work for the long haul. You're not here for, just for today and just for tomorrow and then that's us. You're here for the long haul. So ensure you've got the capacity for that.
Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20-Minute Self-Development. If today's reflections were helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we'll explore another tool or principle to support you in doing your own work as a healing practitioner. If you're looking for deeper support, my practitioner mentoring sessions are designed to help you refine your presence, integrate your self-work, and build a practice that's both ethical and sustainable. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy to explore all current programs and resources built specifically for space holders like you. Until next time, keep showing up for your own work, and remember, real growth is built on consistency, integrity, and self-responsibility.